Hello, and welcome back to the Natural Wellness Tips podcast. This is your host, Dr. Jennifer Shaw. I am super excited to be here with you today, and we are going to talk about the power of aromas and how it actually affects our body. It's an exciting topic. I can't wait. But if you guys are brand new to the podcast, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what I'm sharing, make sure you subscribe so you get notified each week when I drop a new podcast. And if you're coming back, thank you so much for tuning into the show. If you haven't left a review, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a review on the show. Reach out on Instagram, say hi over on Natural Wellness Tips. I'd love to hear from you guys. So let's dive into our topic. I talk so much about essential oils on this podcast, almost every single episode. And I thought it was time for me to dive into why aromas are powerful and how they work within our bodies. Don't worry, I won't make it boring. Really, to be honest, this info is truly mind-blowing. So hang tight, follow along, and let's really dive into this because, when I got started with essential oils, I was extremely skeptical. I really didn't think they would do anything for me, and they've completely changed my life. And now that I understand physiologically how they work within our bodies, I think it's something that we all really need to understand, right? So first we'll talk about what essential oils are, and then we'll talk about how they affect the body and the physiology behind that, right? So essential oils are natural compounds. They're found in seeds, bark, stems, flowers, and roots of the plant. They are concentrated, highly potent chemical compounds that are parts of the plant that serve specific purposes vital to these plants, right? They're protective. They help with reproduction, regeneration. They keep pests away. They help ward off unfriendly pests while attracting bugs and herbivores that are essential to that plant's function, right? So they are this support system for the plants that, when extracted, become a support system for us. So I want to give you this example so you can understand how prevalent essential oils are in these plants. They're everywhere, right? But have you ever peeled an orange? So if you think about it, you peel an orange and it kind of sprays out, that liquid that sprays out of the rind, that's the essential oil, guys. It's in the outside of the plant, and it's what gives it its beautiful aroma. So you think about smelling a flower or rubbing a peppermint leaf or a rosemary leaf, guys, those are the essential oils. So you have been around essential oils your entire life. You've ingested essential oils your entire life just by eating these plants, right? So we're just using them in a different format when we're using them in this bottle form like we do from doTERRA. So, and if you guys are new to the podcast, you might not know this about me, but if you guys have been returning, I only talk about doTERRA essential oils because of the quality, because of the way we source our essential oils and the testing that they go through. So I'm very specific with that. But let's talk about what essential oils are a little bit more. They're adaptogenic. So what are adaptogens? They are plant substances that help us adapt to internal and external environmental factors, specifically that can cause stress on our body. Maybe it's physical stress or emotional stress or spiritual stress, whatever it be, but it's stress on our body. They support our body systems, including hormonal balancing, moods, and immune systems, as well as overall homeostasis, which is our overall state of calm, of where our grounding, where we should be when our body's functioning optimally. They can be calming, soothing, uplifting, energizing, grounding, balancing, while affecting our body on a cellular level. So I always think of it this way, guys. Florals. You think of florals, you're giving them when you're giving love, compassion, even sympathy. They're given at funerals, at weddings. So florals are comforting, right? So they're that really calming, soothing aroma. Then citruses, they're grown in sunny environments, high up in the trees. They're uplifting, they're energizing. And then trees, roots, barks, those are really grounding earth elements, right? So those type of oils are more grounding and balancing. So it kind of makes it a little easier when we're trying to decide which essential oils to use. Simply inhaling an essential oil allows it to penetrate the bloodstream through the respiratory system while triggering a response right in our brain. And this happens within 30 seconds, oftentimes feeling the shift of the emotion in under 10 seconds. Pretty powerful, right? I remember a friend had said this to me in this manner, and it really struck home and stuck with me, is when someone is dealing with a severe emotional distress and they take a medication for it, that medication takes 20, 30 minutes to kick in. And if you're in severe emotional distress, a lot of bad decisions can be made in 20 to 30 minutes. Whereas if you open a bottle of essential oil and smell it, you will feel the effect in 5 to 10 seconds. And that is a lot shorter of a time to prevent something catastrophic from happening when you're in that deep, desperate state, right? So these are so powerful that we just open them up, smell them, and get that effect so quickly. So essential oils are able to affect the brain through activation of our olfactory bulb. The olfactory bulb is in our nasal cavity, and it recognizes smells and is part of the limbic system of the brain. This is the part of the brain that deals with emotions, memories, feelings. This is why certain scents are linked to certain memories. This is why certain smells can trigger memories from our childhood or vacation, right? So, maybe your grandma always had jasmine flowers around the house. So when you smell jasmine, you just think right of grandma, right? It brings you right back to it. That is your limbic system at work. And that's through that connection of the olfactory bulb that's in our nasal cavity, right? So the limbic system has been linked to feelings of motivation, learning, memory, the fight or flight response, hunger, thirst, and honestly, even production of our hormones that help to regulate our autonomic nervous system. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second, because I think it's important to understand that. But the limbic system itself is a grouping of brain structures that work together, including the olfactory bulb, the hippocampus, the amygdala, the hypothalamus, the basal ganglia, the prefrontal cortex, the cingulate gyrus, and the ventral segmental area. So that just got pretty confusing, right? I just said a lot of things. But let's take a step back and let's just specifically look at the hippocampus, the amygdala, and the hypothalamus. We already discussed the olfactory bulb. It's in our nasal cavity. And when we smell something, right, then it triggers right into our limbic system. So that smell is going through the olfactory bulb, and then it affects different parts of the system. So the hippocampus, that plays an important role in memory, learning, long-term information storage, and spatial reasoning. So definitely going to affect our emotions, considering how much it has to do with memories, right? Then you have the amygdala, which helps the body process emotions. I was just having this conversation, is when certain people call or certain situations happen, we feel this like welling up of anxious feelings in our body. We feel the whole body potentially go into a sympathetic response, that fight or flight, the heart racing, the pupils dilating, the, blood flushing to our, our muscles, where we get sweaty. Even if we know that that person is on the phone and we can not answer, we can hang up at any time. They can't do anything truly to our physical safety at that moment, right? But our body still responds in that way. And that's the amygdala kicking in and pushing us through that process of fight or flight, right? And it's pivotal to our lives, but at sometimes it can really hinder us because it's coming in so strong in situations that it's not necessary. So we'll talk a little more about that in a second, but the hypothalamus is the only other one I really want to highlight. And it plays a role in the body releasing hormones that help sustain balance or homeostasis in our bodies. So let's connect these puzzle pieces. Simply smelling an essential oil can affect our brain chemistry. It can affect the emotions that are being put through our thoughts. It can affect the hormones in our body. It's been shown that simply smelling essential oils such as bergamot, lavender, lemon can prompt the brain through this pathway that we've been talking about to release serotonin and dopamine. So serotonin is our happy. It helps regulate mood, body temperature, appetites. Much of our serotonin is in our gut, but there is serotonin that is released in our brain, and simply smelling an essential oil can trigger the release of that serotonin. And then we have dopamine. regulates mood, and plays a vital role in the brain's pleasure and reward systems. So you've seen people that are struggling emotionally, and something really good can happen and they're like, meh, they just don't get excited about it. And oftentimes they have low levels of dopamine. Their brain is literally not able to chemically process the pleasure, right? So simply literally smelling bergamot, lemon, or lavender can help to release those hormones, dopamine, serotonin, so that we can have that happy, that pleasurable experience. That's pretty powerful, right? So when you're feeling really down, really low, like leaning into these oils is essential to our emotional health. So we'll dive a little bit deeper into the fight or flight response and how aromas can help us with that. So we have our autonomic nervous system, and it's comprised of two main parts: parasympathetic and sympathetic. If you've been around, you've heard me talk about this before. It's something I'm really passionate about. But your parasympathetic is associated with relaxation, digestion, generally taking it easy and resting. It's letting your body heal and recover. The sympathetic is responsible for fight, flight, freeze response. The sympathetic receives its direction from the brainstem and the hypothalamus, and is truly rooted in our survival. So we've talked about the hypothalamus as we talked about the limbic system. So the limbic system has direct interaction or impact on our sympathetic nervous system, our fight, flight, or freeze. So although that is so important, if we, are preventing ourselves from getting in an accident, we're getting chased by a bear, like we need that survival response. But in our modern day society, where stress levels are so high and so constant, the sympathetic nervous system oftentimes remains in overdrive, leading us to a state of burnout and compromised health. I've done episodes on this, and I'm sure I'll go deeper into the stress cycle in other episodes as well, guys. But they say 85 to 90% of doctors' visits, the diagnosis has its root cause in stress. Guys, that is a huge portion of why people are seeking medical care. We have to get our stress managed. And this can be done through our limbic system, through our olfactory bulb, through literally opening up a bottle and smelling it. We have tools right in front of us that can help us manage these overreaching cycles of chronic stress, right? That cause so many issues within our body. When we live in a constant state of fight or flight, we get lead to high levels of exhaustion, adrenal fatigue. We can deal with insulin resistance. We can have weight issues, trouble sleeping, immunity issues, like so many different things. Getting our stress in check is essential. And we can use our essential oils and really some simple habits such as deep breathing to get us out of this fight or flight state and into a rest and digest state. So let's talk about a few of them. One of my favorites is legs up the wall. So you literally lay on the floor or on your bed with your legs going up the wall, and you just let your legs relax. You can lay there and you can breathe. You can breathe an essential oil in. You can read a book. You can listen to a meditation. It's just a very simple way to get the blood to flow back to the brain and the heart, and to trigger our parasympathetic nervous system to kick back in. Another pose, or another thing I love, is the supported bridge pose. So this would be a yoga pose where you lay on your back and you take a block or a couple pillows and you put them under your hips. So you lift your hips up and you put the block or the pillows under your hips. So when you do that, again, you're elevating your hips up over your heart, and you're helping the blood rush back and trigger the parasympathetic nervous system. Deep breathing. So take your left hand on your chest and your right hand on your belly right now, and as long as you're not driving, and I want you to breathe in. And I want you to notice, did my left hand just rise, my right hand just rise, or did both? Most often your left hand rose more, right? Because we're breathing into our top part of our lungs. We are not breathing in deep into our bellies. So from here, I want you to breathe deep into your right hand. So try to expand your belly. That's the important thing. When we breathe deep into your belly, we're triggering our vagus nerve, and it's helping bring us back into rest and digest, parasympathetic triggering out of that fight or flight. It's even more incredible when you add in an essential oil to it. One of my favorite breathing exercises is the 4x4x4x4 breath. So what do? You take an essential oil in your hand. You can take a drop, like I have my lavender right in front of me. I'll take a drop in my hand, rub my hands together, cup my hands over my nose. And then I'm going to breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold it for 4 seconds. Breathe out for 4 seconds. Hold it for 4 seconds. And I'm going to repeat that 4 times. So it's 4x4x4x4, 4 times. So you're inhaling for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, holding for 4. Trying to breathe deep into your belly when you do it, that's going to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system to kick in and shut our our sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight, and let it take a break. Okay, let our bodies take a break. Other great habits are warm, relaxing bath. I love adding a cup of Epsom salt with some calming essential oils or grounding essential oils like a vetiver or a lavender, even like a balance essential oil, deep blue, so many good ones. You can also take time at the end of the day to unwind by journaling, reading your books, dimming your lights, trying some meditation. If you are brand new to meditation, doing some guided meditations, and yoga. A good yoga class that has a nice long shavasana at the end is key. So if you're really needing that relaxation, find a restorative or a yin yoga class to get that calming. So basically, we need to take more time to slow down. But let's dive a little bit deeper into what essential oils you could put in the mix here and why. So we've talked a little bit about lavender already. It's great to help when you're in a state of shock, in a moment of crisis, or in a moment of fight or flight. So this is a really great one to lean into right in those moments. So before I dive into all the essential oils, I want to kind of clarify some of the different ways you can use them. So we're going to talk really about aromatic use because we're talking about this olfactory bulb, the power of aromas. You can open the bottle and simply breathe it in. You can put a drop in your hands like I did with the lavender just a minute ago and breathe it in. You can put it on your clothing or on your skin, on your chest, under your nose, and breathe it in. I know a lot of people who love to put some in their hair, and they're basically like a walking diffuser. You can get diffuser jewelry that you can smell all day long. So the point is to have this aroma in front of you. Another simple way to do this is a diffuser. I get up every single morning and I walk through my house and I put oils in all of the diffusers. I change the scent depending on what we're dealing with or what our day looks like. And I help to support our emotional needs through what I put in those diffusers. And I do that every single morning. So I have aromas in my home every single morning. So we talked about lavender. Great for shock in the moment when you're in fight or flight. Bergamot is another incredible essential oil. So bergamot supports our bodies when we're dealing with anxious feelings or specifically fear. So guys, in the last year and a half, I think fear has run rampant. If you're still watching the news, maybe stop. It's a fear-mongering heaviness that is just overwhelming to our bodies and our minds. But if you're getting that fear off other people or you're living in that state of fear, grab your bergamot. Start using that every single day, smelling that oil in. It's amazing. Rose, doTERRA rose, I absolutely love. You can get it in this touch roller where it's like a roll-on blend, or you can get the pure oil. It is the most expensive oil doTERRA has, but it is worth it. And rose is wonderful to grab to support when you're feeling tired, you're dealing with panic attacks, shock, a lot of anxious feelings. It's going to soothe your heart. It's going to soothe your soul. Roman chamomile. We know chamomile is calming, right? So Roman chamomile can help with those anxious feelings. It can really help with worry, irritability, or when you're feeling really low, really down in the dumps. So it can increase feelings of peace and contentment. You guys, I can't stress this enough. Worry. So if you're dealing with high levels of fear and worry, you have bergamot for fear and Roman chamomile for worry. Use them, diffuse them at night. So you're getting that aroma all night long. Use them throughout the day. They are game changers for you. Okay. Then we have, I'm going to talk about these two together, ylang ylang and clary sage. These are both wonderful for soothing anger and rage. So if you're getting really frustrated or irritated with something, leaning into these two to calm that anger and rage. Anger can be a beautiful emotion if we harness it properly, because it can help us move to higher vibrational emotions. And using something like clary sage or ylang ylang over your heart, breathing it in, can be really key in that assistance. Frankincense is one of my absolute favorite essential oils, and this can assist in releasing lower level, lower vibration emotions and cleansing us of repetitive negative thoughts. So if you are waking up every day with the same worries, fears, negative thoughts, negative emotions, frankincense is an amazing oil to use. Take a drop under your tongue in the morning, get it in your hands, breathe it in, put it over your heart, use it on your skin, just open the bottle and breathe it in. My goodness, it is a powerhouse oil. Then you have sandalwood. So sandalwood assists in calming our minds of those rushing thoughts. I personally like to take it and put it on the bottoms of my feet, as well as breathe it in right out of the bottle. Give it that big. It's going to calm those thoughts that are going driving us crazy, right? Vetiver, I like to use in a very similar way, as like on the bottom of the feet and breathing it in. It's very grounding, very calming essential oil. So if you need to come back down to Mother Earth and feel rooted, feel grounded, vetiver on the bottoms of the feet is key. Lemon and wild orange, these are both uplifting. They shift us to uplifting positive thoughts and emotions. So if you're in those low emotions and you need that lift up, these can be great ones to lean into. So those are not all encompassing lists, but I feel like those were some really good examples for you for specific emotions. We talked about anger, worry, fear, frustration, negative thoughts, positive thoughts, getting to peace and contentment, right? Anxious feelings. We talked a lot about a lot of different emotions. And now you have essential oils that you can lean into for those, right? We covered a lot today, but my biggest goal for you out of this episode was that I wanted you to understand just how powerful pausing, opening a bottle of essential oil and breathing it in deeply is. It can change your life. In this uncertain world, it is really easy to get pulled into others' emotions, into stress, overwhelm, worry, fear. However, as I always say, everything in life is a choice, and what we think about is and will become our reality. So grab your oils, keep your mind in a positive state, and know that you are truly the creator of your destiny. When I first got started with doTERRA oils, I did it to address physical ailments from my spinal cord injury. And the greatest blessing was the realization that they impacted my emotional health on such an incredible level. They have literally changed my life, physically, emotionally, and financially. And I will be forever grateful for these amazing little bottles. If you have essential oils at home, guys, I hope you have already opened up bottles. I hope you've already taken deep breaths. I hope you've already popped an essential oil in your pocket. If you guys ever see me out and about, ask me for what essential oil I have on hand. I literally always have an essential oil in my purse, my wallet, or my pocket, or all of the above. I don't leave home without essential oils. So if you have your oils, open them, use them, lean into them. And if you don't, guys, click the link below and join the 5-day oil experience. You can go to my website, drjennifershaw.com, where you can click the link below. But what you're going to get with this oil experience is 6 samples for just $10. You get my guidance for 5 days. And if you don't like them, at the end, I'll even give your money back. It's that simple. Essential oils are incredibly powerful for our emotional health, which then in turn, as we now understand, affects our physical health. And we have these tools right at our fingertips. So let's lean into them. And I want to close with a quick quote from Marcus Aurelius. Our life is what our thoughts make it. And one of the simplest ways to shift our thoughts is using the power of aroma. I hope that was really helpful in you understanding why I am so passionate about opening these little bottles of oils. They can and will change your life. They've absolutely changed mine. So thank you so much for joining in today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for learning more. Share this episode with your friends and family that you think would benefit from it. Come say hi over on Instagram at Natural Wellness Tips. And if you guys haven't joined the 5-day oil experience and haven't gotten essential oils yet, make sure you go drjennifershaw.com, join the oil experience, and I'll get your sample sent out right away. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. And until next time, namaste.